blues fans, you found us, and I'm glad you did. Time for another episode of This Week in the Blues. It's our weekly look on blues history. I'm your host, Jimbo Big Train Matson, with the blues band Big Train and the Loco Motives. We're your favorite blues nerds. Just trying to keep the blues alive, one post, one video, one song at a time. We have a great show for you this week, so let's take a look and see what happened this week in blues history. Blues singer Georgia White was probably born on March 9th, 1903. You know, record keeping is kind of sketchy. Now, not much is known about her early life, but it's thought that she was born in Sandersville, Georgia. Now, by the late 1920s, she was singing in clubs in Chicago. She made her first recording, When You're Smiling, The Whole World Smiles With You, in 1930. She returned to the studio in 1935, and over the next 6 years, recorded over 100 tracks for Decca Records, usually accompanied by the pianist Richard Jones, and later by the guitarist Lonnie Johnson. Blues guitarist Ronnie Earl was born March 10th, 1953 in Queens, New York. During his college years, he attended a Muddy Waters concert at the Jazz Workshop in Boston. After seeing Waters perform, Earl took a serious interest in the guitar, which he had first picked up in 1973. His first job was as a rhythm guitarist at the Speakeasy, a blues club in Cambridge, Massachusetts. In addition to playing the Boston blues scene, Earl traveled twice by Greyhound bus to Chicago, where he was introduced to the Chicago blues scene by Coco Taylor. Electric guitar innovator Harvey Mandel was born March 11, 1945, and he's best known as a member of Canned Heat. He also played with Charlie Musselwhite and John Mayall, as well as maintaining a solo career. On the night that Henry Vestine quit Canned Heat, Mandel was in the band's dressing room at the Fillmore West. Mike Bloomfield joined them for the first set, and Mandel came in for the second set. His third performance with the band was the Woodstock Festival in 1969. Yeah, imagine going from not with the band to playing Woodstock. A little crazy, but that's how it went. So his playing is known for its relentless fuzz tone, feedback edge solos, and unusual syncopated phrasing. Early country blues musician Laughing Charlie Lincoln was born March 11th in 1900. He often recorded with his brother Robert Hicks, who you probably know as Barbecue Bob. He was born Charlie Hicks Jr. in Lithonia, Georgia. Now in his teens, he was taught to play the guitar by Savannah Weaver, the mother of Curly Weaver, and performed in the Lithonia area until 1920. One-man band musician Jesse Fuller, best known for his song San Francisco Bay Blues, was born March 12, 1896. His infectious rhythm and gentle charm graced old folk tunes, spirituals, and blues alike. Fuller was equipped with a band full of instruments operated by various parts of his anatomy. Performing as a one-man band, he began to get spots on local television shows and nightclubs. He wrote San Francisco Bay Blues, and the song helped him land a record contract. In the late 50s and early 60s, Fuller became one of the key figures of the blues revival. Throughout the 60s and 70s, he toured America and Europe. Chicago electric guitarist Melvin Taylor was born March 13, 1959, in Jackson, Mississippi. Taylor's parents moved to Chicago in 1962, taking him along. Well, you know, as a 3-year-old, you gotta take him. Anyway, there he joined a popular music group called the Transistors. He switched his focus to blues music when the group disbanded in the early 1980s. He found work playing in clubs on the west side of Chicago, often at Rose's Lounge. During the 1980s, he joined Pinetop Perkins and the legendary blues band in a year-long European tour. He continues to record and tour, and more information about his latest tour dates can be found at his website at melvintaylor.com. Swamp blues giant Lightnin Slim was born March 13, 1913, on a farm outside of St. Louis, Missouri, although some say he was born in Good Pine, Louisiana. His birth name is Otis Hicks. His first recording was Bad Luck Blues, as in, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all. That song was released in 1954. Now, starting in the mid-50s, Slim then recorded for a dozen years, often collaborating with his brother-in-law, Slim Harpo, and with the harmonica player, Lazy Lester. He was ranked as one of the 5 great bluesmen of the 1950s, along with Muddy Waters, Little Walter, Howlin' Wolf, and Sonny Boy Williamson. One of the first blues divas, Clara Smith, was born March 13th in 1894. She was a classic female blues singer, billed as Queen of the Moaners, although she had a lighter and sweeter voice than many of her contemporaries. In 1910, Smith began working on African American theater circuits, in tent shows, and vaudeville. By 1923, she settled in New York City, appearing at cabarets and speakeasies there. Soon after, she made the first of her commercially successful series of recordings. Smith recorded a total of 123 tracks, with her record sales being topped only by Bessie Smith. Now, Clara Smith was known all across the country, even performing on the West Coast, which was rare for a blues singer at the time. Country blues great Robert Pete Williams was born March 14, 1914, in Zachary, Louisiana. His music characteristically employed unconventional structures and string tunings, and his songs are often about the time he served in prison. Williams was born to a family of sharecroppers and spent his childhood picking cotton and cutting sugar cane. At the age of 20, Williams fashioned a crude guitar by attaching 5 copper strings to a cigar box, and soon bought a cheap, mass-produced one. He was discovered by musicologists in Louisiana State Penitentiary, where he was serving a life sentence for fatally shooting a man in a nightclub in 1956. The parole board was convinced to commute his sentence to 12 years. Here's a little blues history for you. On March 14th, 1927, Blind Lemon Jefferson recorded the song Matchbox Blues for OK Records in Atlanta, Georgia. The song was later recorded by several blues and country swing musicians, such as Lead Belly, Big Bill Broonzy, and the Shelton Brothers. The song was reinterpreted as a rockabilly song with the title of Matchbox and recorded by Carl Perkins in December of 1956 and by fellow Sun Records performer Jerry Lee Lewis. The Blind Lemon Jefferson version of Matchbox Blues was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999. Blues guitarist Lightnin Hopkins was born March 15, 1912, in Centerville, Texas. A record company executive dubbed him Lightnin Hopkins when he was paired with blues piano player Wilson Thunder Smith. At the age of 8, he met Blind Lemon Jefferson at a church picnic and went on to learn the blues from his distant older cousin, the country blues singer Alger Texas Alexander. Hopkins' style was born from spending many hours playing informally without a backing band. His distinctive fingerstyle technique often included playing bass, rhythm, lead, and percussion at the same time. Much of Hopkins' music follows the standard 12-bar blues template, but his phrasing was free and loose. He often referred to himself as Poor Lightnin in his songs. Well, blues fans, we just covered some of the highlights here. Now, if you want to know more about these artists or other things that happened this week in the blues, be sure to follow our social media pages or visit our website at bigtrainblues.com. We'll have a brand new episode next week that'll include stories about founding member of the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Jimmy Vaughn, and blues guitarist and juke joint legend, Willie King. It's going to be a great show, so we'll see you then.